AITA for standing up against a nurse after she had a long day and decided to take out her anger on a McDonald's worker, me, and told me I should be thankful for her and worship her? Sorry if this is all over the place. I'm still really pissed off about this. It happened a few hours ago and it ruined my whole day. I'm 20 years old. I'm a student who works full-time overnight currently in the drive-thru since classes are virtual in uni at a big McDonald's across from a large hospital. I get a lot of paramedics, doctors, and nurses come in since it is right across the street from the hospital. The paramedics and doctors are always the sweetest ones. Never look down on us and treat us all with the same respect, and we are glad to give them free drinks as our new policy indicates. The nurses are generally really nice, and I'm not going to judge all nurses from this one nurse's behavior, but here's what happened. It was pretty dead at 1:45 am and I hear a car coming in the intercom. I say hi, how can I help you? The female voice chuckles and says Big Mac. She drove up to the second window and I say hi, it is $6.65. She pays and I ask her to park ahead for the food please. She asks to speak to my manager and I start being confused as to why, but I call him over. She starts pointing at me and it's so painfully obvious she had a bad day and is looking for a target at this point. She starts telling him loudly that I didn't ask how her night is going. I didn't ask how her day is going. I didn't ask how she is feeling. I suck at customer service and she feels like a target. She said that I should be fired for not asking how she's doing, etc. and not being thankful for a nurse. I was pissed off and told her that I just said hi, how can I help you? What is the problem? I didn't say anything rude or with an attitude before. Even my manager wore the headset heard, but he had to listen to the nurse even though she was acting ridiculous. My manager told me to go for a secretary to the back. He asked her to park after apologizing. After 5 minutes, when I went back to the drive-thru, she reversed the car and banged the window asking for a refund. It was so obvious she had her feelings hurt or something, since I didn't worship her. Again, she told me that I need to look up to her as a nurse and worship her, etc. I was like, yo, WTF is wrong with this woman in my mind. But I stayed quiet. Just because you're a nurse working 12 hours a day does not give you the right to tell me to worship you and for you to talk down to me as a McDonald's worker. I study 11 to 12 hours per day as a mechanical engineering student to try and get ahead, and I come into work with very little sleep. Not once have I taken out my stress on someone else. SMH, I'm still very mad about this. I don't understand how a grown 40, 60-year-old woman in medical scrubs has to cause drama at almost 2 am against a 20-year-old McDonald's worker for not kissing up to her. NTA. Although this person very much sounds like a typical scammer who pulls this routine regularly to try and get free stuff, unfortunately, it often works because squeaky wheel and all. I wouldn't be surprised if they are not even a nurse and are just saying that to try and take advantage of the current pandemic. NTA. As a healthcare worker, lab employee, not a nurse or anything, I'm absolutely appalled at this woman's behavior. I'm so sorry you experienced this op, and I hope you know that we are not all like this. A bad day and a career in healthcare is never an excuse to berate someone in customer service. Her behavior was ludicrous, and you deserve so much better than that. Essential employees need to be supportive of each other. She should be grateful you're working, so she can have something to eat after her shift. Please hang in there and stay safe. NTA. I read this to my sister. She's a respiratory therapist, and she was disgusted. Medical staff do a lot and are at risk, but they have, in almost all cases, proper PPE for working with COVID patients. She sent me pictures of her PPE, and it's intense. She said fast food and retail workers are at a much higher risk than them because of the lack of PPE and regulations being enforced. People don't think about this. There haven't been many cases of medical professionals getting infected, in my state at least. It's mostly grocery store workers, package handlers, and general public. I respect all medical workers, but even with COVID, they are not gods, and many of the entitled ones aren't even working with the virus. If they were, they'd show more compassion, because they are watching people die, unable to breathe, and alone. NTA. Wow. Hell. I work in radiology in a hospital, and I have had horrendous days. Watching a COVID patient code was absolutely terrifying. But I would never even dream of taking my stressful shift out on another essential worker, or anyone, for that matter. Everyone working in the food industry has been absolutely working their asses off. I have nothing but respect for them. She sounds like she needs counseling if she can't handle her job emotionally. I get it. It's completely normal to sit in the shower and have a good cry after a grueling day in healthcare, but since she is targeting people to take her issues out on, she needs help. That is not okay. NTA. Your job isn't to ask them how their day was, but what they want to order. You aren't their therapist, obviously. Sure, nurses, doctors and paramedics are great people who should be appreciated, but asking you to worship her is BS. She shouldn't have behaved like that, and I hope she comes back to apologize. NTA. My niece works part-time at a local grocery store also, while going to school. She had an EMT tell her she had a pathetic job, unlike hers, and that the store policy of one pack of toilet paper should not apply to her, since she is essential. WTF, why do people feel so entitled that they have to belittle strangers? My niece has basically raised herself since she was 14 and is currently going to college for criminal justice. Don't judge strangers. Just be nice to everyone. I'm speaking as an RN myself, your NTA, and please don't think that all nurses are like this. Most of us were told that are sold to STFU. We know firsthand what it's like to have others take their frustrations out on us, and wouldn't ever want to do that to someone else. It sounds like she's developed a god complex, maybe because of all the hero worship going on right now with COVID-19, but she needs a large slice of humble pie. NTA, I'm a nurse and here's the thing, you are also an essential employee. You serve a valuable purpose to the community and I personally am grateful for all your hard work throughout this pandemic. She has absolutely no right to treat people the way she treated you. AITA for wanting my husband to honor our deal. My husband really wanted kids. I like kids and sort of wanted them, but I hate the work associated with babies. I would rather work a 18-hour shift than change a diaper and clean up vomit. So I made him agree, before we got married, if we have kids, he'll stay at home and do all of the nights and cleaning up. Well, I've been working from home. And as I've been home he's become increasingly difficult. He sleeps half the day away and spends most of the time just lying in bed. I've been having to wake him up in the morning, or he'll sleep until noon. Then at night when she cries, he won't get up and will wake me up and try and get me to do it. Obviously I say no, in which case he lets her cry for 5 to 10 minutes more before he finally gets up. And now he's been asking during the day too. Can I just change her once? Can I just clean this up? Can I just hold her? In the middle of work, I'm doing my job, and he comes in and interrupts me. It's ridiculous that I have to put up with it when he specifically agreed to do it. I've been locking my office door during the day, and tonight he blew up at me saying that I have to help out since I'm home anyway. I went through pregnancy, I make our money, now he wants me to do what he promised to do. He says it's unfair that he has to do it all, when again, he promised he would. How is it fair that I have to work and harass him to take care of her? We've been fighting all night about it, and now he's locked himself in the bedroom. AITA? NTA, you were clear on the deal and keeping your end of the bargain, but let's be real here. When you have a baby the responsibility have to be equal. I'm only going with NTA cause it seems that you're a breadwinner in this household and this was the agreement. But you need to pull your weight in terms of child care. Your husband on the other hand, SMH got what he wanted, a baby, and he agreed to the deal. He probably was betting on the fact that you might get your maternal instinct BS and you'll be the child carer and breadwinner. AITA, while I do want kids and we are TTC, I get that diapers aren't the best thing in the world to have to change. However, that is still your baby too. While I do get the husband looking after the baby while you work, once you clock out you should be helping him with your baby. Parenting is not easy, and a baby should not be brought into the world if you were not ready or if you did not want kids. My fiance works 12 hours away doing a 2-week on and 2-week off rotation. If and when we have a baby I will be sole provider for 2 weeks at a time. We have already agreed that when he comes home for those 2 weeks he will be doing most of the work and all of the late night checks so that I can sleep, because I will have basically no sleep or help for 2 weeks. That is a fair arrangement. Having a husband solely care for both of your baby at all times is not fair. He needs a break too. He is probably sleeping most of the day because he is not getting sleep at night if he is doing the nightly feedings and changes. How could you possibly think it is okay or fair for him to be the only one doing everything for this baby when you both live there? If this was a mother who did everything and the husband refused to help, you would be outraged. So why is it okay in your eyes when roles are reversed? Both of you are such assholes for doing this to your kid. If you don't fix your shit, she will know for the rest of her life that you never wanted her and that her dad was too exhausted to take care of her. Believe me, it sucks. Me and my siblings face a dad that didn't really want us and a mom that takes more time taking care of my dad than us. They should have never had kids, and I learned this at a young age. Your kid will too. Go to counseling and fix your shit before your kid grows up to hate you both. Unpopular opinion apparently, but NTA, your husband kept pushing for a child. He promised he would do all the childhood chores for said baby, if you would agree. I mean, I hope you actually spend time with the baby and it wouldn't kill you to pitch in on the weekends to give him a break, but I don't think you're the asshole for being upset that he won't take care of the baby while you're working. Just BC, you're at home. Maybe now he understands why you didn't want to commit to this. It's a lot of work. Just because he agreed to do the work doesn't mean he doesn't need help. I'm a stay-at-home mom, and even though we agreed that I would do most of the work, my husband still helps me when I ask him, or he'll ask what he can do. The kid isn't a fucking pet, dude. That's just as much your kid as it's his. Your attitude is awful, and you shouldn't have had kids. It's also not fair to throw in his face that you carried the baby. I agree he shouldn't be bothering during work. That is the only part where he's the asshole, you're not. AITA. Who cares you had the pregnancy? That's your child too. It is 1000% unfair for you to not care for your child while your husband is playing both parental roles. It's one thing in theory of having a kid and a whole different ballgame once they are born. I honestly feel bad for your husband and your child. This is a time when you should be bonding with her the most. Typical problem of working from home. Your husband needs to understand that although you are physically present at home, you are working to earn money. You can't help him because that's not what you get paid to do. NTA. Because your agreement still stands. You are earning the money. He is the stay-at-home dad. You guys should not have had children. Thinking that a child and everything they entail would always fall under the purview of one partner only, all the time, no matter what, was naive at best and disingenuous at worst. What you're looking for is completely unrealistic. That you'd never have to change a diaper or take care of the child during the day at all ever during their entire childhood because he promised. He had no way to plausibly make that promise, so he sucks too. Saying he'd be fine with effectively being a single parent at home while you work was something he had no way of being prepared for and is a silly agreement all around. I'd suggest counseling as soon as possible, but this isn't looking great. I'm sorry. If you're working and are the breadwinner while he stays at home, even with no pandemics, to care for the child, he should not be interrupting you when you're working and should be the primary career of the child. However, I did say the primary and not the only because this is a ridiculous agreement and you both suck for making it in the first place. A child is tough work and it's a shared responsibility, and expecting him to care for the child alone 24 hours a day while you simply ignore her existence is an absurd expectation. Thanks for watching. Have a good day and make sure to appreciate essential workers.